Did she really just smash a surveillance feed link to law enforcement with a metal pole? Deputy Ray stared at the frozen image on the monitor, blinking in disbelief. The last frame showed a wide-eyed woman in a pastel pink tracksuit mid-swing. I was already halfway out the office door with my badge clipped to my belt and my car keys in hand. "That's Karen," I said flatly. And she just turned a homeowners association dispute into a full-blown criminal investigation. It had all started with a camera, a cul-de-sac, and one woman who believed the rules didn't apply to her. That woman, Karen Monroe, had been our HOA vice president and self-appointed ruler of Sycamore Lane. She wasn't just strict, she was obsessive. From lawn heights to holiday decorations, she ruled the block with a clipboard and an iron will. When I installed a few smart cameras around my house, it wasn't to provoke anyone. I'm a tech consultant for the county sheriff's office, and we had been piloting a remote monitoring program in residential neighborhoods. After multiple package thefts and an incident where someone vandalized my utility box, I offered my home as a beta test site. The cameras were discreet, motion-triggered, and streamed securely to both my home system and a backup server at the sheriff's office. I didn't expect privacy issues. The devices were legal, within my property lines, and positioned carefully. But the glowing blue light on each lens apparently set off alarms for Karen. The very next morning, I got a sternly worded email from the HOA citing an unauthorized installation. That was followed by a knock on my door. There she stood with a trembling Maltese in one hand and a clipboard in the other. "We have strict aesthetic codes, Mr. Whitaker," she said sharply, pointing her pen at my front-facing camera. "This sort of surveillance equipment can intimidate neighbors." "It's facing my porch," I replied calmly. "And the last newsletter mentioned a rise in porch piracy." "I'm helping." Karen's lips pursed so tightly it looked like she was trying to swallow a lemon. But I was prepared. I showed her the highlighted clause in the HOA charter that allowed outdoor security equipment as long as it didn't obstruct public walkways. Mine didn't. She didn't argue, not verbally. But the next few days brought a steady wave of passive-aggressive retaliation. Muffin began relieving herself near my garden gnome with suspicious regularity. Anonymous pamphlets decrying surveillance technology appeared in my mailbox. And then came Saturday. I was at the sheriff's office when the motion alert buzzed through. Deputy Ray and I watched the monitor as Karen stormed up my driveway, yanked a collapsible metal pole from her bag, and smashed the camera right off my siding. It sent one last image, Karen's face, twisted in fury, staring into the blinking live stream icon. "Is that her real name?" Ray asked, stunned. "Unfortunately," I said. "And I want to deliver the repair bill myself." By the time I got home, the carnage was exactly as expected. The camera lay shattered in the flower bed, the siding was dented, and my mailbox flag had been snapped clean off. But Karen had missed something. A second camera hidden in a birdhouse had caught everything. Her dramatic entrance, the swing, the smirk, even the moment she almost tripped on her shoelace while walking away. I burned the footage to a thumb drive and returned to the office. The sheriff's department had all they needed to begin building a case. Tampering with law enforcement-linked surveillance equipment turned the matter into a serious offense. That evening, I reinstalled the camera with reinforced brackets, then sat on the porch sipping lemonade as Karen's porch light blinked on. She stood there, arms folded, glaring across the street. I gave her a polite wave and pointed to the new camera. The blinking blue light responded. Her expression darkened. The next morning was eerily quiet. No leaf blowers. No barking dogs. No HOA newsletter carriers stalking porches. Everyone seemed to be waiting. When the sheriff's cruiser pulled into Karen's driveway just after 9 a.m., it was like someone had fired a starting pistol at a drama marathon. Karen tried to play it cool. She smiled, made small talk with a neighbor, held Muffin like a stage prop. But when the deputy handed her a printed photo of her caught mid-swing, her facade shattered. She saw me watching from my porch and turned ghostly pale. The incident was officially filed as malicious property destruction and interference with a public surveillance program. That technical language carried weight. At the next HOA meeting, when the footage was played before the full board, the impact was nuclear. Karen had stormed the lawn, swung like a madwoman, and spewed rants about neighborhood security conspiracies. One board member muttered, "She's unhinged." Another whispered, "Time for a leadership change." Karen was formally censured. Though removal required a community vote, the tide had turned. She lost her usual seat at the head of the table and was visibly shaken. In the days that followed, Karen launched a PR campaign. Cupcakes appeared at my door with a forced apology. A newsletter titled "Let's Move Forward Together" hit everyone's inbox. It included vague mea culpas and bizarre references to aggressive digital sentinels. But her charm offensive fell flat. Old citations were re-examined, revealing years of abuse, targeting holiday decorations, issuing fines for imaginary violations, and even attempting to evict a single father over decorative lights. Then the petty sabotage began. My mailbox was glued shut with sticky candy wrappers. Motion lights were ripped from the ground. Peanut butter smeared into my electronic gate lock jammed the mechanism entirely. No one had to say it, all knew who was behind it. I responded not with confrontation but with upgrades. More cameras. Hidden ones. For K disguised in lawn decor, in faux rocks, in porch lanterns. Everything was recorded and backed up. Eventually, Karen was caught tampering again, this time with my garage sensor. One of my newer cameras triggered a floodlight and a robotic voice, recording in progress. She fled, but not before being caught on a neighbor's dashcam. The sheriff's office escalated the case. Charges now included harassment, trespass, and destruction of property. The final straw came during a hot Saturday afternoon when an ice cream truck parked near Karen's house. Kids cheered. Parents mingled. Karen burst outside, ranted about permits, knocked over cones, and slipped trying to retreat. The moment was caught on video and went viral online. A few days later, the sheriff formally filed charges. Karen received her subpoena the same day I received mine. At the hearing, the courtroom watched multiple angles of her outbursts. Her lawyer attempted a privacy defense, but the judge shut it down. The cameras were legally placed, one connected to a public safety program. Karen was found guilty. Fines, restitution, mandatory community service, and a court-ordered apology were issued. She mailed out her apology stuffed with glitter as a passive-aggressive flourish. The sheriff documented it as tampering. The HOA offered me her board seat. I declined but agreed to serve as a tech advisor. We overhauled policies, removed unjust fines, and dismantled Karen's fear-based governance. Then, just as suddenly as it all started, Karen vanished. No for sale sign, just a moving truck. She left without fanfare, disappearing in the passenger seat of a black SUV, muffin in tow. Relief settled over Sycamore Lane. Neighbors who had been silenced now laughed and helped one another. Kids played freely. Barbecues returned. Peace, once a foreign concept, became normal. I kept my cameras, now adorned with friendly signs, smile. The sheriff's watching. Thanks, Karen. Justice hadn't come through revenge. It came through truth, patience, and well-placed lenses. Karen had destroyed her own power. All I had to do was press record.